explore a whole new world of theme park magic? We are, and we hope you are too. Welcome back to Earstravagant Adventures. We're your travel agent besties, Rachael and Katie. And today
Hi.
we're joined by our fellow travel agent, Charles, who
Hey,
just
Charles.
Hey,
returned from Universal Orlando's brand new theme park, Epic Universe. From jaw-dropping lands and next-level attractions to the inside scoop on what to expect when the gates open very soon, Charles is here to spill all the magic and monstrous details. So grab your wand, which I didn't bring with me, and grab a power-up mushroom and hop aboard your dragon because we're diving into the future of theme park adventures, and you don't want to miss a moment. But first, thank you to our sponsor, Alonzi Travel, the ultimate family theme park experts. Planning theme park trips can be overwhelming, but Alonzi Travel is here to make it stress-free. With our years of experience, we're your lightning lane or express pass to hassle-free travel. We handle all the details, allowing you to focus on your love, having fun with your loved ones, whether you dream of Hogwarts or monsters or Burke Island.
Dragons? Yeah.
We've got you covered. Tailoring the trip to your family's needs. Visit alonzi-travel.com/ take the trip for a
We
magical adventure.
we
Yeah.
couldn't go 3 for 3 of you not stumbling on the
At least
sponsor.
I stumble on different things every time. I
Yeah.
keep everybody on their
You
toes
have
with
been
what
doing
I'm going to mess
good the
up.
last two podcasts. Like you were solid. We could
But
not go 3 for 3.
I just got back from a race weekend. Okay, I'm tired. We're going to be stumbling over everything all day today, but I have my Harry Potter brew black tea. Don't look at the cup because it's not a Harry Potter
I
cup.
like the cup though.
It's uh oh my God, the boy who lived is called is the what the tea is called.
Where'd you get it?
My favorite non-sponsored tea company, the Grimoire Tea. She makes all things fantasy, so bookish, Harry Potter, Disney. Great, great, great tea. So smells like a s'more.
Ooh, nice.
Ooh.
All right, let's get into this. Let's
Yeah.
do it. What's
So
epic?
what? Oh, for those of you who aren't on the internet at this point, um, what the heck are we talking about? So, Epic Universe is a brand new theme park. We haven't had a brand new theme park since Animal Kingdom in the 90s. So, this is a brand new theme park. But technically, I do want to say this, it's not at Universal Orlando, it's part of Universal Orlando. So,
Mhm.
Charles, why don't you tell us logistic wise kind of where Epic is?
Yeah, so it's not I'm so used to when I go to Universal Orlando, like everything is just right there, right? Like and you go to one of the parks, oh, I can take the Hogwarts Express over to the other park if I have park to park tickets. So I'm so used to everything just being centralized when I go to Universal. That's not the case with Epic Universe. Now it's not like drastically far, but it is about if you're on the bus 15 minutes from that hub ish. So
Mhm.
it is a bit away. All right, so it's not right there. So that is right off the bat. It is separate. And traffic wise, right now it's not horrendous, but I can see it absolutely being a crap show once things start to actually once the park actually opens because they have the way they did the roads. It's
Mhm.
really streamlined into just one way or one way out and one way in. So like it's going to be pretty much like it's going to add so much more congestion onto I-4 and to all of that. So just
Which is
keep
already
that
a
in mind.
busy
Oh.
road.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yep.
Is the big elevated traffic circle complete? Is that finished?
Yes. That
Okay,
is
it
finished.
is.
Yes.
Was it scary? Because I see pictures of it and it scares me.
So the thing is like it
Well,
because
Charles, Katie is a scared driver, first
Yeah,
of all. So take that
I'm a
with a grain of salt.
weenie.
Yeah.
well, I can't fully answer that because like when I was taking the bus there and back, like we didn't have much issue, but I didn't rope drop it. I got there like maybe 15-30 minutes like after like early entry park open. And then when I left, it wasn't I stayed a little bit after you know me, I'm a Parks at Night person, so I was there till
Hmm.
like an hour after park closing, so it wasn't the traffic with everything wasn't that bad. So I can't fully answer that because I don't
Yeah.
know what it's like at peak like rush hour times. But
Well,
yeah,
and it's technical rehearsals right now. So the park is not even open.
Well,
This
I know
is
I'm
preview.
but wait, because we're getting into the nitty gritty of it, and I want to first
Yeah.
say, okay, what is Epic Universe, right? So Epic Universe, it's going to open May 22nd. So as of we're recording this on May 13th, so it's going to open in a
Hmm.
couple days. So right now it is under previews. So everything Charles experienced is a preview mode, and when you're in preview mode, you expect rides to be closed. The
Hmm.
park hours are adjusted. The capacity is very different from what it would be when the park is open. So, first of all, this is a preview. Second of all, this park is very different from any other park in that it's very immersive world. So, taking from like Cars, I feel like Cars Land was the first like really truly
Hmm.
immersive land out in
Mhm.
California Adventure. So, Pandora, Wizarding World of Harry Potter, like that style of immersive land, you walk in and you're just surrounded by this. So there's 5 immersive worlds here. And also, first of its kind in Florida, a hotel is attached to the theme park. We're not going to talk about the hotel just because we've talked about it before in
We have.
our premiere. So this is the Helios Hotel. It's connected to, has its own dedicated entrance to Epic Universe. So this is first of its kind for a lot of things. Um, Katie, before we start grilling Charles, do you want to give us a quick rundown of each land? Not full details, just quick
Yep.
rundown.
Quick rundown. First land is going to be Celestial Park. That is the entrance to the park. That is the park hub. Then you're going to have the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, the Ministry of Magic. You're going to have Super Nintendo World, How to Train Your Dragon, Isle of Berk, and Dark Universe, which is themed to Universal Classic Monsters.
So Celestial Park and Dark Universe are going to be, for lack of a better word, non-IP driven.
Mm.
But Wizarding World, Super Nintendo, How to Train Your Dragon, those are very, very, very specific based on existing IP. So a nice mix there. Charles, you mentioned you didn't get there right at park opening. However, I feel like this isn't a regular park opening. What time did the park open when you got there? Like
So
if you
for
had gotten there for opening, what time was it?
So the park opening for previews is 11 o'clock. For
Okay.
early entry for reserve guests, it was 10. So I got there right around like 10:50. I think it was like 10:15,
Yeah.
10:30. Um, the reason why I did that, you guys know me, I don't like waiting in massive crowds and lines.
Yeah.
So I was lucky because I have a close friend of mine who actually works for Universal and was part of the team that worked on Epic. So he helped me out. Shout out to him. He helped me out with a lot of pointers and advice on how to navigate. And I asked him about like, should I do early entry? He's like, it's not worth it because there were only two parts. There was Super Nintendo World and Stardust Racers that were technically open for early entry.
Mm.
So getting there is not really dire, especially the game plan that I had, which I'll get into. But the game plan I had for I was going to approach the park, it really wasn't. There was no benefit in me getting there like 15 to 30 minutes early for
Mhm.
entry. I got there, a little bit after, and I had no crowds that I encountered. I was able to walk right in, and so it was very, very easy. But yeah, the early entry was 10 o'clock, and park opening was 11, and it closed at 9
Mhm.
p.m.
Which 9 o'clock is typical for Universal, but opening that late in the day is not a typical park opening. So when we don't know what the hour, well, we might know, I haven't looked, but usually that's not the hours in regular operations. I will say though, because Charles, before we talk about the lands, I do want you to tell us your strategy. But for our clients, we always recommend early entry because keep in mind, when Charles went, it was a preview. So the park was not at capacity. We imagine the park is going to be at capacity for a while. And having only 2 lands open is typical Universal early entry strategy. Like that's how it is at Islands of Adventure. That's how it is at Universal Studios. So only 2 lands being open is typical Universal behavior. So I can imagine that's how it's going to be anyways.
Yep.
I have hours for opening weekend because I have clients traveling opening weekend, 9 to 9. Standard Universal 9 to 9.
Okay, so a little bit longer. So, Charles, before we get into each land, which we're very excited to hear about, give us a brief summary of what your strategy was.
So I was because I tried to always zag when everyone zigs, right? So I my crowd avoiding strategies, it's always around that. So a lot of the talk was because everyone's either going to most people are going to Nintendo World, Super Nintendo World because that's land that was open, and then the other part was Stardust Racers. My strategy was okay, get to the park, just taking everything at Celestial Park because I can still walk around there. Try to see what the wait was for Stardust Racers. If it was too long, come back to it. Oh, by the way, I also did purchase Express Pass, because I needed to have that. I needed to have like a
Mhm.
convenience and peace of mind, and I'm so glad I did. But I was gonna check that out, and then my first land I was going to attack was Dark Universe because whereas everyone kind of gravitates to Dark Universe at night, which was my initial thought. I'm like, oh, it's gonna be good at night. I want to go there. Yeah, I was like, wait, why would I go when it's at why would I try to attack that at night only? Why don't I try to attack that at first thing when it's least crowded? So that was my strategy to go to Dark Universe, and then I was gonna go make my way over to Ministry of Magic, and then Isle of Berk, and then end at Nintendo World because that's when the crowds were supposed to be at the lowest. So which I'll get into when I get into that.
Perfect. Well, let's start with Celestial Park. So I'll give an overview of it so you can just tell us your thoughts on the things that we mentioned. So the rides that are available are Stardust Racers and the Constellation Carousel, which looks beautiful. The attractions is Astronomica, which is a splash play area, and the Fountain Show, which gives me Bellagio vibes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then the dining has Atlantic, which is table service, steak and seafood, Blue Dragon Pan Asian, which is also service, Chinese, Japanese, Thai infusion. So this is the smaller, like we said, it's the welcome into the park. So there's not going to be a ton here, but let us know your thoughts on Celestial Park. This one looks like the most like mythical, magical to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's funny you said that. And Katie, when I was doing live, when I was on live at Celestial Park at night or at the park at night, I know you would ask me which land do I think is the best. I think Celestial Park is the best land. I'd say that right off the bat. I personally,
Hot
and
take.
a hot take, and but if you two know me well, I I love. I'm a Parks at Night person. This land is
Mhm.
absolutely gorgeous at night. I am telling you. Like I could be there for 3 hours just relaxing. But the thing is, it's not just a park for relaxing. So you mentioned the carousel, right?
Hmm.
Gorgeous carousel. Like I didn't go on it because I wanted to save it for when I ride with my son. But I took videos of it and I was around it. It is a gorgeous carousel. It's a really cool carousel. So it's not your just typical going around in a circle. The way that ride is, kids are going to absolutely love it. Stardust Racers is one of the best coasters, period. I rode it twice. I rode both sides. I made it a point of emphasis to ride both, and they
Mhm.
are phenomenal. And I'm talking about right there with like it's competing for Velocicoaster. Like it is an amazing thrill ride. And I was someone I was a huge fan of Dueling Dragons back at Islands of Adventure when it was so
Yeah.
this is Dueling Dragons times 10. And that's saying a lot because I loved Dueling Dragons. So they
Yeah,
have
and
those.
I apologize, I didn't say Celestial Park has a 48-inch height requirement. So just not to
You
interrupt,
mean
Yeah.
but
Stardust Racers? Yeah, I
Oh,
left it
thank
off the
you.
notes. I realized that when you were reading it. I was like, I
yeah,
didn't put the height requirement for
yeah.
Stardust.
Really quickly, before we get it, continue getting to it, I just want to say only two attractions do not have height requirements. So that is something I want all of our families to keep in mind. The
Yes.
minimum height requirement is 34. Everything else is basically 40 plus. So
Mm.
there's only 11 attractions, two of which don't have height requirements. So,
Yeah. Yeah. And that's I'm not get into overall at the end, but like that's one of
Mhm.
the park. But with Celestial Park, um, so they have Stardust Racers, they have the carousel for the two rides, right? But not only that, the places where I ate at Pizza Moon, for like brunch ish before I went into Dark Universe, and I ate at Oaken Star, which is like the barbecue place. Those were really good. Like I'm not gonna say phenomenal, but those two spots were really good. I was looking forward. I really wanted to try Blue Dragon. That was the only place I wasn't open yet. So unfortunately, I didn't get to try it. I am absolutely prioritizing that next time. But the reason why I say Celestial Park is my personal favorite is because it has a little bit of everything. It has
Mhm.
the fountain and you know the you get the sights of Helios. It has the two rides. It has good food all around it. So like it being the hub, it felt like I was gravitated toward the Celestial Park a lot. And I toward the end of the day, I was just like, I just want to spend more time in Celestial Park because it's a gorgeous place that has a little bit of everything for everyone. So I loved Celestial Park. I really, really, really did.
Well, tell us more about Stardust Racers because, like, the point of us giving these recaps is so people can kind of envision these roller coasters to see if it's something,
Mhm.
roller coaster weenies, right? To see if
Yeah.
something that they would even want to get on in the first place. So, Stardust Racers, can you give us something comparable? Because Dueling Dragons doesn't exist anymore. So, if they
Mhm.
haven't been on that, then we need give us something to compare it to.
Yeah.
What would you compare?
So imagine if you've been on Velocicoaster, right? Imagine if they took the intent. Imagine if
Hate
they
it.
took Velocicoaster, split it into two separate coasters, but kept the intensity, right?
No.
It is that intense. So like and I was kind of telling this to Amanda during our meeting is that like, you know, Velocicoaster is consistent throughout. It's like I felt like with Velocicoaster you hardly get a chance to breathe. It's intense throughout the whole thing. Uh,
Yes.
for both sides because there's yellow and there's green, right? For both sides, if it feels like half of one side is half of what Velocicoaster's track is, the other half is the other part. But what they also made it do is they intersect with each other so well. So you are constantly seeing the other track like at different points, and it's so much fun. It is so much fun to see them and to be that close and to wind out, to do like different twists and turns and wind with them and see them. So Stardust Racers does such a good job of intersecting the two sides at different points and multiple points. So like even though the intensity is split into two, you still get it makes up for it with that intersection. So like it is a very intense ride. Very, 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 very intense. But it is smooth. It's not rough. It's not like Hulk. That takeoff, like you feel and all the twists and turns, it is very, very, very smooth. It's not so like if you can take thrill rides like that, if you can take that intensity level, this is a must do. This is like a must do ride, and you don't have to worry about getting like getting bruises or anything like that, being jerked around with your head. Like it's very, very nice, very, very fun. So if you're into that kind of stuff, it's 100% recommend you to do Stardust Racers.
I want to point out for people listening that it has the same type of harness as Velocicoaster, which is my problem with Velocicoaster. I don't mind thrill rides. Velocicoaster does not have an over the shoulder harness, so does Stardust Racers. It's a little much for me because I feel like I'm going to fall out. I know I'm not, but just I need that comfort of the over the shoulder harness. So,
And is it on Express Pass?
Yes, yes.
Perfect.
And I looked out with that because I I went to see one of the shows, and it because again we're in preview mode, so technical rehearsals. They had issues, so they had to end the show early. I was able to get a single ride express pass, so I used the single ride to do the first ride in the afternoon to ride yellow, and then I used my express pass that I bought to go back and end the night with green. So like that's how.
nice.
What I will say also, it is like Velocicoaster in the sense that the express pass and the standby queue, you have, you have your respective wait times. When they merge at the lockers. You have to put your phone in the locker. It's one of those rides where you have to put
Mhm.
it in the locker. After the locker meet, both standard standard standby queue and express pass, they're in the same line, and you go through a metal detector, and that line after the metal detector can be long. So there is for someone who was going solo like me, not having your phone, it does seem like a little bit of long of a wait because after that you are just there.
You have
Obviously,
nothing to
there's nothing,
do.
nothing to do. Obviously, if you're with a group of travelers, that's not as big of a issue. But if you are soloing, it can be a little bit of a boring wait, and especially at night. There was like a 5 to 10 minute delay in the ride. Again, we're in preview, so it's expected, but it wasn't too long. And I decided to branch out and be a little bit more outgoing, and I started to talk to people in the line to kind of pass by the time. So it was a fun time. So it was just that note that you have to put your phone in a locker. They will stop you and make you go back, just like rock.
Mhm.
So keep that in mind.
Well, let's move on to Isle of Burke. I know Katie's like most excited about this. So Katie, give us a recap of the land, and then Charles I think we're all like, this is what's all over Instagram is Isle of Burke. So like,
I'm
I think
not I'm not most excited about this, but I will tell you, I was pleasantly surprised when we finally got eyes in that park. I was like, wow, this looks incredible. Like it really does. It's not what I'm most excited about, but I'll talk about it. So Isla Burke is themed to How to Train Your Dragons, and like Rachel said, is extremely immersive. It's like you walked into the movie. Um, Rides in Isle of Burke is going to be Hiccups Wing Gliders, which is a family coaster with a 40-inch height requirement. Dragon Racers Rally, 48 inches, family thrill ride. I'm not really sure the difference between those two. Like I've seen the wing gliders, it is like a little family coaster, but I don't really know what Dragon Racer Rally is. Um, and then the Fire Drill, which does not have a height requirement, which is like a Viking boat interactive water ride where you spray tons of water on people. Rachel will never go on that.
no, but I'll be on
Uh,
the sidelines. It looks hilarious. So like, I'm really
it
excited to
does.
just like watch this one because it looks like
Yeah.
chaos.
I
Oh
can
my.
tell already, like my kids are going to be all about that because we've done something similar. I think at Silver Dollar City, and it was like the best thing ever to them. And so, yeah, they're going to love it. Tons of meet and greets in this land. You've got Toothless, Hiccup, Astrid, Stormfly, the twins whose names I cannot remember. There's just characters everywhere, and there is a show, The Untrainable Dragon, which I've heard really good things about. We've got a
Which
couple
has
of
the
dining.
flying dragon.
Yeah, it does. A couple of dining options. You've got Mead Hall, which is a quick service, and it's like a Viking dining experience, like a feast hall. Spitfire Grill, which is also quick service, and it has a bunch of different rice bowls with different proteins in them. Hooligans, Grog, and Gruel, which is the mac and cheese and cones, very similar to like Cozy Cone in Disneyland. Heard great things about those. Like they look fire. So, Charles, what did you do in the Isle of Burke?
So I was excited for Olive Burke because like you said, Katie, when we saw the social media ban lifted and we saw like the
Mhm.
all the content from it, I'm like, wow, this looks awesome. Overall, I feel like Isle of Burke is the most spacious and well-designed land from a logistical standpoint. Like it is,
Yeah.
so when you enter, there are essentially three different paths you can go. So I don't feel like everything is bottlenecked. And that's my one of the issues I'll get to is like on these entrances of these lands, I'm afraid it's going to be very bottlenecked. But in Isle of Brick, it doesn't have that issue. So I feel like the logistically very smart. You're 100% correct. It is gorgeous from immersion. Like, and I can say that about each land, but like Albert, absolutely. Like they did it so well. The music, when you enter, you see the two statues, and you just feel like you're stepping into the How to Train Your Dragon world. The characters all throughout, I tried to get as much like content as with characters I could. The character meeting, I wanted to meet through this so bad. But the wait was like 75 minutes, no express pass. So I'm like, I can't spend a
Mhm.
bulk of my time. I'm trying to get as much time as I can. I can't wait for that line. But the character meet and greets, like I was also waiting for to see if one of like the little dragons was gonna come out. I never got a chance to, but I was so hyped for that. So like the character meet and greets are one of the things, if you have the time, they look awesome. Absolutely awesome. The rides. So I did Hiccup Swing Gliders. Amazing family coaster. Amazingly themed, very smooth. Enough thrills where it's going to be so much fun, but not too much where your little ones are going to get too scared from it. So
I've
I
heard
just
people are comparing it to, oh, not the Flight of the Hippogriff.
I think it's better than Flight of Hippogriff.
But I mean, like in terms of it is a little
Like
thrilling, but it's not
thrilling.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. And I think it has a little bit more than Flight of the Hippogriff. And there are things when you're on the ride, there are things along the way that make to spice it up. So it's so much fun, so much fun. Probably in terms of family coasters, probably the best one I've been on. So I can't say enough about Hiccup Swing Gliders. The Dragon Racers Rally, I avoided because I can't do spinny things. So like you were asking, the Dragon Racers Rally, it's the thing where you are it's like on a slow kind of like I don't know what it's called, but you're pretty much like attached to like think of like a wing glider kind of, but then
Yeah.
you're going around like slowly like being
Yeah,
like
my friend, I was messaging her yesterday because she's there right now. She said that she calls them the sky teacups. So I
yeah,
said
Yeah.
yeah,
sky teacups, and she said, yeah, it's in the sky and then they twist.
they twist. Yeah. I was like I have to avoid that. Now, I will say that people have said that it's very tough to turn anyways. Like you have to really
Hmm.
put muscle into it. So you can have the option to not spin, and so just kind of be there and you get good use of it. But like being me, I wasn't gonna risk it. So I'm like, I'm just gonna avoid that. The fire drill, you're going to get soaked. Out of any
Yeah.
like water attraction, I think this is the most intense in terms of just the amount of water. It's gonna be fun for kids though. And if you don't mind getting your kids getting absolutely soaked, or if you're gonna wear a poncho, you'll be okay, but you are going to get wet. I constantly when I was passing by it constantly saw kids coming out of it and they were drenched. Absolutely drenched. It was so cute, but it is yeah, you're gonna get wet, so just keep that in mind.
I mean, that's
Uh
perfect for the upcoming summer season. When it gets
yeah,
Yeah.
cold, it'll suck, but like
yeah,
right now, it's going to be fantastic. A
more
90-degree
fun.
day,
Yep.
soak me.
Yep. Yeah, and it looks like so much fun to I was kind of just like on the bridge observing it and it looks like a lot of fun for kids. So it's if you're good with getting wet and drenched, I recommend it. But if not, stay away.
Or bring your
Pack
poncho.
your,
Yeah.
yeah, or pack your Crocs probably and your sandals, your plastic sandals to
Yes.
put
Yeah,
on for
because
that ride.
when you're on it, you can soak people off the ride, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yep. Um,
Did you eat anything?
I ate the mac and cheese cones, the much
Oh,
hyped mac and cheese
Tell
cones.
us about it.
So what I will say, it's a solid snack. Okay. I will so the mac and cheese is light. So it's not heavy and dense like a lot of mac and cheeses. So it's very light. Is that a good or bad thing? It can be, it cannot be. So if you are a mac and cheese diehard and you love the flavor of different cheeses, you're not gonna like this mac and cheese. But if you're looking for something
yeah.
that's going to like make you like very like heavy, like not something heavy, and just if you want something that's light and can get you just going, hold you over, then it's a good thing. It does lack flavor, but it's not going to weigh you down. The bread of the cone, it has a very light crunch to it while still being soft and easy to tear apart. So it is very easy to eat with the mac and cheese. What I will say is the cone has everything seasoning, like an everything bagel. If you
Hmm.
like that, you'll love it. If I am not an everything bagel kind of guy, so it wasn't particularly for me, but I did still enjoy it. So it wasn't overbearing. The flavor of the everything season wasn't overbearing to where like I just couldn't take it. Like I liked I didn't at that point I was so hungry because I hadn't eaten anything since like brunch and it was like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I was like, I need something to hold me over. So it was good. I will say that the line did get pretty long. I had to go back 3 times because the first few times I tried to fit it in before I saw the show the lines were long. So I was like, I'll have to come back after I watch a show. I did, and the line was had died down. So is it worth it to stand in line a long line for? Probably not, in my point of view. But if the line isn't bad and you want a light snack and you like that kind of stuff, oh yeah, this is a very solid or good snack. Just know that it's not going to have as much flavor in the mac and cheese, and that
Hmm.
everything on the cone is apparent there. So
Is
Well,
it walk up window only and not mobile order?
correct. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Universal hasn't gotten their act together with mobile
Yeah,
order
we know
anyway,
this.
so it's
But there's three different flavors of the mac and cheese. I'm
Yes.
assuming you got the regular
I
mac
got
and
the regular
cheese,
one.
not one of
Yeah.
the specialty ones. Okay.
Correct. Yeah, yeah. I wanted to go with the basic one, and it was a solid snack.
look, if
I
you
am not.
can't do the basic one, don't get the fancy one. The basic one
Yeah.
has to be good for the other
Yeah.
ones to
I'm
be
gonna go
good.
for the fancy one. Like I would have skipped the basic and gone in for the fancy.
Mhm.
Well, let's move on to Dark Universe. I know this one is people are so excited about, especially my Halloween fans. I'm skeptical about it, but I don't like scary things, so I'm excited to hear what you have to say about that. But overview, the rides are Curse of the Werewolf, which is a 40-inch another spinning roller coaster. We've got a big theme here in Epic Universe with things spinning. And then Monsters Unchained. This is everybody is talking about this. It's a 48-inch height requirement dark ride animatronic motion simulator. Think Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey. The attractions and shows here, there are meet and greets with the Invisible Man, Frankenstein's monster, Bride of Frankenstein, and more. They also have, very cool, the monster makeup experience with which adults can also do, which
Mhm.
is really cool. I do want to say a caveat though. Once you get your makeup done, you cannot have alcohol. So
Yep.
it is a little weird thing, but because Universal doesn't want people getting the characters confused, it's a whole thing. But luckily, adults get to do it. Just know that once you do have your makeup done, no alcohol for you. The dining is a Burning Blade Tavern, which is quick service with burgers, chicken skewers, quick bites, and cocktails. And then Das Steak House, which is another quick service, steak, wings, and pork. DeLacy's Cottage, which is pretzels and cinnamon bites. So, Charles, let's start with the rides. Did you do Curse of the Werewolf? It's spinning, so
No,
I'm assuming you're going to say no.
no.
Did
There's no
not
way.
do that.
I saw that. I'm like, there's no way I'm doing that. I am no. There's
But can
no
you
way.
describe it for us? So like
Yeah, it's
I
so
could do the like the what you
yeah,
said about that other ride in Isleberg.
yeah.
Like if it doesn't spin, I could probably do that. So tell us what you saw for this one.
But what I saw is it's very short. So if you're you that's the solace of it. If you're trying to give it a whirl, no pun intended. You're it's a very short ride, but like it looks like teacups on a bit of steroids. Like
Oh,
literally, you're going back and forth, and the thing is constantly spinning.
uh,
Maybe not at high speeds, but it is spinning. So I can't. There's no way I was gonna do that. So, but it again, it's short enough to where like if you want to give it a try, absolutely. Um, I know people are complaining that it is too short. That's give or take. If you want, I could understand that people want more of it because it's too short. But if you're on the fence, like it doesn't take long. So that's what that is.
well, tell us about the one that literally everybody is talking about, Monsters Unchained. I heard that this one is next to Stardust Racers, the one to do.
So it depends
Heard
on what
that
type
too.
of ride. Yeah, it depends on what type of ride you're into. What I will say is, I heard someone say it's a better version of was it the Harry Potter ride?
Yeah,
It's-
Forbidden Journey.
Forbidden
Yeah.
Journey.
Journey. 100% a better version of Forbidden Journey. This was fantastic. The theming of the queue, top notch. They do such a good job. Like everything, the good thing is this is a good thing. I think it's a very very good thing. The queue makes it seem terrifying. Like it sets you up. It's very
Yeah.
like, everything like it's so everything is gives off the vibe of like this is a terrifying ride. The ride itself is not terrifying, but while the fears kind of like take a step back, it is so well woven in terms of going from people like yes there are some like screens with it, but the screens are in the background and it's not more so it's not like the main focal point of when you're hopping from scene to scene. It's more so to add to the experience of what you're seeing. So when it's taking you from spot to spot, it's seamless, it's smooth, the story is so easy to follow. It's a lot of fun, so much fun. Um, the uh the so if you see in the queue, and if I did post content of it, like in the queue, you have Igor. He's showing an example of like the ride vehicle, like a mini version of the ride vehicle, and like he's like tossing and turning it. And when I first saw that, I'm like, there's no way I can survive this. This is intense. Like, and I'm spinning and it's throwing me around. It's not that intense. That was like exaggerated for queue. But when you're on it, it's very smooth, it's seamless, and it's not too intense. But the show and the ride itself, I absolutely agree. It is a better version of Forbidden Journey. I 100% recommend it. It's not a thrill ride like a coaster is, but it is such a fun experience going through the regular queue and seeing everything, and it's so well done. Absolutely one of the highlights of the park. So I absolutely recommend that ride.
So do you get, because I get
Question.
motion
Oh,
sickness on Forbidden Journey.
You're not gonna get, yeah, smoother, not as intensely that you're so focused on the story and like the scenes, and it's not as jolty. And like, whereas Forbidden Journey, you know how in Forbidden Journey, like, it is very screen based, and it's not like that in this one.
it's fuzzy.
It's like in
Yeah.
Monsters Unchained, the screens are in the background to add to the whole thing. It's not like you're focused on that.
More practical sets with screens to enhance the practical
Yeah,
sets.
100%.
I have a question. My kid is terrified of the Mummy, like the Mummy ride in Universal Studios, because not so much the theming, but like the darkness and the intensity of it. Would she be able to ride Monsters Unchained?
So with I think it might be tough for her because it is dark throughout. And so like I said, the queue it does set you up to be very scared. So that's not gonna help. That's not gonna help at all. The family I was with did have a younger one and he was very scared. The team member did come to him and say, "Hey, it's gonna be okay. It's not that bad." So they were trying to enforce the fact that the actual ride is not as scary, but it is still dark. So if they have issues with that, and like that might be that might be an issue with the constant theme of everything being dark and everything like
Like
that. Now
the
things
build
like
up.
the build up, and yeah,
Yeah.
it is dark throughout the ride. It's not as intense. Like Revenge of the Mummy is an intense coaster. It doesn't have that same intensity level. So I will say that. So you don't have to worry about that, but it is dark and it can kind of scare younger ones a little bit.
Got it. Um,
Let's move on to Super Nintendo World. Katie, can you give us a rundown? This is a sensory overload land.
yes.
Like you literally walk across a rainbow to get here. So tell us what we can expect, and then Charles, give us your experience.
So we have three rides in this land. We've got Yoshi's Adventure, which is a 34-inch height requirement, and it's an omni mover attraction. Minecart Madness, 36-inch height requirement, and it is a family coaster. Mario Kart Bowser's Challenge, 40-inch height requirement, and that's an interactive racing ride. For attractions and shows in the land, you've got meet and greets with like Mario, Luigi, Princess Peach, Toad, and more. And then the big star of this land is all of the interactive activities and challenges that you can complete with your power up band. One dining option, which is Toadstool Cafe. It's a quick service with Mario themed food, and it's very similar to the Toadstool Cafe that there is in Hollywood, Universal Studios Hollywood. Charles,
Now,
what did you do?
well, before we talk about the attractions, Charles, you did or did not get a power up band?
I did not get a power up band.
Okay.
So
So I'll give you an overview of Power Band because it's the same in Hollywood as it is here. So it's like a magic band, to be totally honest with you. It is a goes on your wrist, and there's interactive elements all around the Super Nintendo world. If you're familiar at all with the game, you'll remember the bricks with the question marks on them. You hit them to get surprise things. So you have to hit them pretty hard. Kids, you have to hit them very hard to get, and it'll make the little classic ding noise when you know you've successfully hit it. So you can collect coins. There's hidden features around, and you just I want to say magic band. You power up band all across the land, and it's super, super fun. In addition to that, the power up bands also help you collect keys. So there is the key challenge. Now, Charles, you could still do them even though you didn't have a power band. Did you participate in them or did you just not have time?
no, I observed a lot of guests do them, and I will say like it is very very fun like to see all the families doing it. So that is a big sell of this land.
Yes, some of them are team oriented and some of them are not. Some of them are harder than you think they are. I have a TikTok of me doing one and it is way harder than I expected, but you have to collect 3 coins to do to defeat Bowser. So just like in the games, you have to go through levels to get to the final boss. This is the same
Dun
thing. You
dun
have
dun
to
dun.
get three keys to get to the final boss. And the final boss game is it's stupid, but it's like you're standing in a room and you're like doing things and it's weird, but it's a lot of fun. This land is like kind of similar to the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. If you're not in, if you don't want to ride any rides, you could spend so much time just
Mhm.
collecting coins and doing those things because the Universal app has an app within the app. So there is a Super Nintendo app within the app where you collect coins, you do challenges, you can be parts of teams. It is a gigantic rabbit hole, and we have information to share with our clients about that. But it's a big old rabbit hole, and you can spend a ton of time doing it. And as the day goes on, the challenges get harder. So, spoiler. But the coins can be used in a real life game to get a skin.
What's a skin?
Yeah, I have to go back to the TikTok to remember what it was, but it's like a skin is like a costume
Yeah.
that characters can
Yep.
look. I'm not a video game person, okay?
Ah,
Mhm.
But a skin, I think, is a costume you can wear in a very specific version. I think it's Mario Kart 13. Don't quote me on it. It's a very specific Mario Kart game, though. So yeah, the power bands are super cool. Highly recommend you. Just like with wands, if you get one for the family, you got guys can all participate. But for Bowser Challenge, it's the challenge. It's per person with a power band. So like your family can go in there with you, but only one person can play the challenge game. Yeah. So that's what I'm most excited about. But
mhm.
Charles, which rides did you do in Super Nintendo World?
Yeah, so I think for one that the power bands, like you said, I feel like that's the main draw of this land. Like this land,
Mhm.
when you walk in, it is super immersive. Super, like I think it's the most impressive land in terms of immersion. Just growing up on Super Mario and that Nintendo thing, I felt like I had to just take in everything and take a little bit as I walked in to just see everything and have an appreciation for the way it's designed, the colors, the
Mhm.
noises. It's just fantastic. I can't say enough about it. So the immersion and the draw of this land, the main draw is going to be the power up bands, and I think it's amazing. In terms of rides, I will say I did not get a chance to ride Minecart Madness because it was constantly like a 2 hour or longer wait. There was no pass to it, and single rider was not available. So I didn't feel like it was a good use of my limited time to wait 2 hours for the one ride.
Yeah.
I don't have feedback on that. Rachel, I don't know if you had your friend
Yes,
had.
my friend wrote it. She said it was cute. It wasn't super thrilling. So this is going to
Mhm.
be like a family friendly one. She said the cart hopping, the track hopping that the attraction does isn't as exciting as they make it seem, but
Mhm.
that it is a family friendly ride. Yeah. And Yoshi, it's funny because in here it says spinner ride, but when you guys said it's like people mover, I'm like, okay, then I can go on Yoshi's.
Yeah, it's people mover. It's not a spinner ride.
It's
Yeah.
not, yeah, it's great. With Yoshi's, well, I mean, like, so something I forgot to mention, this land is very loud. So if you are very sensitive to everything like that and sensory thing, it might be a little overwhelming for you, but just be prepared for that. Yoshi's, I did ride. It is like a lesser version of People Mover, but with a really cute Yoshi theme. So the queue is very, very cute. I think kids will love this ride because just it's nice to ride it and get an overview of the park. It's very
Mhm.
slow moving, a lot slower than People Mover. And it's short. And there is a concept of it, like there's like a mini game where you have to spat out the eggs, but even like that part of it is inconsequential. Like it doesn't really do anything for the ride experience. You just hit a button, so like it's really not much, but it's a cute ride, especially for kids. Um, Here's the hot take, and I know you wrote this, Rachel.
Mhm.
I was a little disappointed with Bowser's Challenge. Okay, because all right,
Yeah.
so Mario Kart, which I grew up on, is supposed to be a racer game with some shooting elements. This is not a racer game. This is not like a go-kart kind of thing. I understand why they can't conceptually and logistically do a go-kart ride. So I came in trying to remove that bias and saying, okay, it's not a racing game, it's a shooter game. So you have a cap and then you have a visor and you have that 4D kind of visuals for the game. My issue is the execution of this is a little lacking because it's way too chaotic and it's
Mhm.
so confusing to try to pinpoint what's going on and what you have to do. Like myself and the person next to me, we were constantly like, "What is going on? Like, what are we doing?" And I didn't know what I'm shooting at. I didn't know which ones were my shells and which ones were hers. And the only racing element of it was the screen tells you to go left or right, and that's it. So like I appreciate the concept and I'm okay with it not being a racer, but the shooter aspect I feel has to be better executed. What I did appreciate of this ride was the queue was fantastically themed. Like they have different rooms where they incorporate stuff from the video game
Mhm.
is top notch. Top notch. So like the whole
Mhm.
theming, everything from that aspect of the ride, it's fantastic. It's so much fun. So even though I don't it's a little disappointing for me, I still 100% recommend this. And the good thing is if you have a power band, the power band is still linked to your score and you can collect
Yeah.
coins from it. So it gives you extra
Yeah, that's
incentive to
cool.
ride. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny because as I've said, I'm notoriously a video game hater and I don't play video games, but I was really excited for this ride because I had heard it was really unique. And I don't think I expected it to be a go-kart or a shooter game. I was just like, I'm gonna be in this. I don't even remember what I thought. I was just vibes. Okay, vibes. What I thought was weird about the ride is the headgear. Like it actually goes on your head and it goes
Yeah.
over your face. So like
Hmm.
that to me was
Oh.
weird. But once I got on it, I'm like, well, I don't know what hell, like literally, I don't know what's happening. I don't know what I'm doing. This is just crazy and chaotic and fun. I will say this is one of those rides though that you do need like 3, 4 plus rides on this to number one, understand how the game works. And then number two, be good at it because the first ride, you're like, what is literally what is
Mhm.
happening? But that's different perspectives, men and women, video game people versus non-video game people. I was just like, I don't know what's happening, but I'm here for a good time. And like my husband, if he had done it, he would have been like, I don't know what's happening, and I'm pissed because I'm not getting a good
Yeah.
score. I was like, I don't even care.
Because when you said that about like, I don't know where my turtle shells are going when I play Mario Kart with my kids right now, I don't know if I shot that turtle shell. I don't know if the kids did it. I don't know where it came from. I'm just trying to win the race. I'm like, okay,
Yeah,
so yeah.
it's vibes. So like but if you are a competitive person or you
Hmm.
do really like Mario Kart, this game might be frustrating for you on the first go because the queue doesn't tell you really what to do.
Yeah, it
And
does.
Hmm.
so you get on and you're like, I actually expected like a not a roller coaster, but like a roller coaster. So this was way more interactive than I expected it to be, and I thought that was cool. But I think you were frustrated because you're like, I expected it to be interactive, and I don't know what the heck is going on, and I want to
Yeah.
win.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, I will add that if you, my friend who works at Universal did add this on, and I didn't have a problem with it, but if you get nauseous from
Mm.
screens in 4D, keep that in mind. This might be a ride that you might get a little queasy on because of the visuals from the 4D visor. So keep that in mind.
Yeah,
I didn't have an issue with it. I didn't have an
no,
issue
but
with
Mm.
it, but
that's a good point because you do have to look through the visor to get the right experience. So like mine wasn't super on my face right. So like I kept seeing like the the cart aspect
Mhm.
of it and that it
Oh.
takes you out of it. So you do need to like look through the visor
Yes.
to know what's going on.
Yeah.
And it's weird. It goes on your head. But this was my favorite ride at Universal Hollywood. I was like hands down my favorite, but Hollywood is a different beast anyway. But yeah, I thought Bowser's challenge was super cool. But don't expect a go-kart ride.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Don't expect Tomorrowland Speedway, but also who really wakes up in the morning and is like, I
Oh
can't
yeah.
wait to ride Tomorrowland Speedway.
Yeah.
Negative. That's a no.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
you didn't eat anything here, right?
No, because I was so my friend who works at Universal again, I was asking for recommendations. He said Tosu Cafe it's a good theme. Like the food is well themed and it looks cool for aesthetics, but the quality of the food isn't anything special. So I was debating between Toadstool and Oakenstar, and I went with Oakenstar, which is like a barbecue place in Celestial Park. So I did that over Toadstool Cafe. I think looking at the menu, it's basic, but the food is spiced up to look nice and cool. So like it'll be fun for
Instagram
kids.
food.
Yeah, Instagram food. So it'll be fun
Yes.
for kids and stuff like that who are not picky eaters and they'll just eat whatever. So that's awesome. But if you're looking for like higher quality food, that wouldn't be a
Hmm.
Yeah, we ate at Toadstool's Cafe in Hollywood, but it was because there wasn't really any good food at all in Universal Hollywood. I think Epic Universe, they did put a strong emphasis in bringing better food offerings. So, Toadstool Cafe, I 100% agree. This is going to be picky eaters. Like I had a chicken sandwich and it was a good chicken sandwich, but it was fine. The fries were good fries, but they were fine. But there's so many other options. Me personally, as like I like elevated food, I would have at Epic, I'll eat somewhere else over Toadstool
Yeah.
Cafe. Well, let's move on to the thing that we are all most excited about and has the most problems: the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, the Ministry of Magic. There's only one attraction here, RIP. And that is Harry Potter and the Battle at the Ministry. This is a 40-inch dark ride simulator. And my feedback from my friend who is there now says, breathe, and this ride will go down. So
Mhm.
this one is the most finicky, I think. And Charles, you can back me up on that. Attractions, though, this also has the attraction I'm second most excited for. The Dragon Show is the one I'm most excited for, but the second, Le Cirque Arcanus, which is a stage show featuring fantastic beasts. There's also lots of meet and greets, roaming characters, students from various wizarding schools, aurors, and local wizards. And then the dining here is Café L'Air de Serene. It's a quick service French cafe with the famous butterbeer crepes. And there's also Le Goblet Noir, which is quick service and kind of just a mix of cuisines. So tell us, Charles, did you get to ride Harry Potter and the Battle at the Ministry?
I did not. So the virtual queue sucks. Like we always complain about the virtual queue system that was at Walt Disney World. Yeah, this is worse. This is so much worse.
Yeah. It's
There are three
trash.
time slots where you can try to catch one: 11, 3 o'clock, and 6. I missed the 3 o'clock time slot because I was busy with some. I think I was at another attraction, so I missed that opportunity. But I tried for 11, I tried for 6, and it did not. I was not able to get on. So the expectations right now are that it's not going to change once the park officially opens. So you have to set the expectation that is a very real possibility you will not be able to get on this ride, and so you have to
Hmm.
just keep that in mind. But they do let you go through the queue, and I will say the queue is absolutely phenomenal. Like you are literally stepping into the Ministry of Magic. The Floo Flames are awesome. I did a recording of me doing, exploring the whole thing, and I, my wife, who's a big Harry Potter fan, I am convinced she's going to cry when she gets into this
Katie
because
too.
it's
Me too.
amazing.
I'm gonna just
Yeah, it's
cry my
amazing.
little Slytherin tears.
Yeah, I walked in and I spent a good amount of time just walking through and appreciating every single detail of of the queue. So Ministry of Magic is absolutely what, even if you can't get in the ride, just go through the queue and appreciate everything in there. So 100%, I loved that. I love that part of of that ride, that attraction at least.
So yeah, so we can't really give you inside scoop because even my friends who were there, it was down the entire time. It wasn't even a virtual queue situation. It was literally the ride was closed, so they didn't get to ride it either. But we're excited for when someone gets to ride it. Did you get to experience Le Cirque though? Because that, like I said, that's the second show. A flying dragon, like I'm sorry, you can't top a
Yeah.
flying dragon. But
Yeah.
how was Le Cirque?
The Cirque so I will preface this by saying halfway through it did stop because of issues. So it stopped twice. The first time they were able to resume, but then shortly after they had to stop again, and then they ended the show early. So I didn't get to see the second half of the show. What I will say is I've seen a lot of content creators say that like if you're not into that lore, if you're not a fan of Fantastic Beasts, you're
Hmm.
not going to enjoy the show. I will respectfully disagree.
Hmm.
I personally I have a history. I've danced for many years, so I have a background in dance, and so I was able to really appreciate the showmanship aspect of that. Because it is like a circus, the first part of it is like a circus, and the way they stage everything and the acts are awesome. Very, very, very well done. And the practical effects, especially in the pre-show of the whole thing, Very good. Very good. So I disagree. I think that you can definitely appreciate this show even if
Hmm.
you're not a fan. You just have to be able to also appreciate being able to put on choreography and different showmanship aspects of when it comes to, doing stuff like that.
Yeah, I totally
I
agree with you. Like if you go into, you don't have to be a fan of something to enjoy it
mm,
artistically. And I mean, even like we were talking about the power bands, you don't have to be a fan, know about this stuff to enjoy it and have a good time. So go into these
exactly.
things open-minded because Universal is an entertainment company. They do
Hmm.
entertainment well. So I'm so excited to see it. I'm so bummed that you had all these and the land like we're all excited about what wasn't real Harry Potter, and it's the land with the most issues, but like it looks so good.
Bummed.
Yeah.
Did you get the butterbeer crepe?
Yes, of course I did. So with that shop, that cafe, right? It's um I had to go back like 5 times because there were long lines each time. So set that
Hmm.
expectation that it's very possible that you're gonna have to keep trying because the door so many times when I tried to get in. And it's quick service, so you have to walk in and get a table for your own, they help you
Hmm.
get a table, but you're gonna have to wait. But was able to finally get in with no wait. Um, my friend recommended the creme brulee. He said that was fantastic for creme brulee, but I'm a butterbeer person, so
Yeah.
I had to get the crepe. I did get the crepe. If you love butterbeer and you have a massive sweet tooth like I did, it is 100% worth it. 100%. It is fantastically done. So it's the crepe itself is it's good texture. The whipped cream on top is very, very light, and the flavor of butterbeer is so potent throughout. So if you have that sweet tooth and you love butterbeer, 100% get it.
Well, there's different kinds of sweet tooth. So
Yeah.
is this like
Yeah.
syrup, sugary diabetes in a can?
Yes, that it is
Okay.
that. So get it if you can take that. However, if you don't love butterbeer and you don't have the capacity of taking in massively sweet things like that, this might not be for you, especially considering the price point because it's close to $20. So
Deep.
yeah, $20 is a lot. And now it is good enough, it's big enough to share because there's like two crepes. So I
Yeah.
was able to do it because I have a massive sweet tooth. I was able to eat the whole thing, but it is definitely a shareable item, so that can help with the cost, a little bit. But it is you have to keep in mind what you're able to take in. It's super sweet, but if you love butterbeer, it's worth it.
Now, how about what Katie and I are most excited about? I've said this several times, but literally the most exciting thing. Did you get a new interactive plus wand?
I did not, but I went into the shop, and I will say that we the wands so far have been based on which characters they apply to, right? They have the new wands which are based on different like material elements and stuff like that. And I will say the wands are really cool looking. And like you read
Hmm.
up on it. I was in the shop for a good amount of time just reading up on each wand. There's like I feel like there's like 5 or 6 of them of the newly
Okay.
designed wands, and they're really cool. So if you're a Fantastic Beasts fan, you are absolutely going to want to get these new wands because they're different from what again they're not attached to characters, so
Hmm.
they're more open to design these wands more freely, and they're really cool looking. So I 100% suggest getting them, checking them out if you're a Harry Potter or Fantastic Beasts fan.
And they added additional magic to the original magic spots in Universal Studios and Islands of Adventure too. I know it's for sure in both. So like my wand that I'm so proud of, Narcissa Malfoy, that I love, I'm gonna have to replace it because I'm not gonna be able to go to the original parks and not do all the magic.
Yeah.
So
Exactly same. I'm not a muggle.
yeah,
I'm a witch, and I
I'm.
will be
Mhm.
doing every magical opportunity there is. So catch me buying that. Even if I'm not going to Epic, I'm going to be getting this fancy wand, doing the fancy
Mhm.
exclusive magic. I'm so upset you didn't do this, Charles.
I did a lot of observing. I'm like, I watched a lot of people do this stuff. So it was,
Ugh.
Mhm.
Ugh.
I didn't
Well,
waste
so
out the
but
money.
what did you think of the land overall? Because I think
Yeah.
you talked about inside the ministry, but how about just like because you observed, so just walking around, like did you see some of these roaming characters? What did you think of just the vibe?
Yeah, so when you walk in, it absolutely it's so grand of a land. The buildings are so tall, and the theming of the 1920s Paris is so apparent throughout. So it's so well done again. The immersion is awesome. I the characters here, what they do is so top notch. Like I was able to talk to a couple of them, and they 100% like credit to them. They really immerse you in the whole lore and the story, and they interact with people so well, and they take their time. They don't rush
Hmm.
when talking to people. They are literally interacting with you, engaging with you, and making sure you are really experiencing the land and the lore. So I have so much appreciation for that, and I think that if you are, again, if you're a fan of Fantastic Beasts and Harry Potter, this is going to be so much fun for you because they add so much, the characters add so much to that.
And okay. Um, Listener watchers, we have to re-record this because our recording didn't save. I feel like we talked about in the unsaved recording Dark Universe. So I want to circle back really quickly because I think Katie had a question about, or maybe you said that it felt very small compared to some of these other attractions.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, yeah.
I know that takes us a little bit out of order, but can you really quickly talk about the flow of Dark Universe? Because what you said in the unsaved recording was very interesting, and I think it would be a good thing to share.
Oh,
Yeah.
100%. So like I'm a big Halloween Horror Nights fan. So like I will say that Dark Universe is going to be at its best at night because the way it's Darkmoor, which is the town there that you're entering, is set up to really come out and be appreciated at night. When it's daytime, it kind of loses a little bit of that appeal.
Hmm.
But it's still well done land. Now, I felt like it was a little small compared to the other lands, and um I don't know if it's forced perspective or that capacity wise it really was small, but if I could walk you through, when you walk into the town, you have the one path that kind of guides you through the actual town, the shops and the restaurants. It leads you to Frankenstein's Manor, right? So, and that's really well done. And then there's another path beyond that that gets you to like where the that coaster is, Crystal Werewolf, and then farther back to the end is where like the Burning Tavern is. So my concern was that it seems like a land that's going to be very bottlenecked because of that one thing.
Hmm.
Just I I appreciated Darkmoor and Dark Universe, but it just felt like I was wanting more from that land than anything. It just felt like this is it. Like I walked in like, oh, this is really all that is. And when it's at full capacity, I can expect this land to be really like squishing together, especially at night. Like if everyone's gonna want to go to Dark Universe at night,
Hmm.
it might be a little shoulder to shoulder for people in that part of land. So just keep that in mind.
Because I
And
think we were in the lost recording comparing it to like Hogsmeade when you walk in and it's very congested. It's a town, right? You're in Hogsmeade is a
Mhm.
small town, and the pathway leads you to Hogwarts. So it sounds like you're saying it's kind of similar to that.
Kind of similar to that, yeah, yeah, absolutely. So just I think all the lands kind of have that in a way, but I feel like Dark Universe is the one where I feel the most issue because, I
Mhm.
mean, with with Ministry of Magic, it is also that, but then the street is wide. The
It
street is
looks real
very,
wide
very wide. So like that
Learn their
does.
lesson is what you're saying.
Yeah, yeah,
from,
it's wide,
yeah.
and so like it does help with the lessen the bottleneck kind of issue. But Darkmoor, it's a town. It's supposed to be a small town, so the paths are really tight. And so like if it's just one path throughout that and going back, I can see an issue with it.
I mean, if we're talking about the difference between a small village versus Paris, it
Yeah,
makes sense for the
makes
more
sense.
congested versus, same thing with Diagon Alley and Hogsmeade. Those are small
Yeah,
places
yeah, and I
versus
will I will
Paris.
say this applies to all the lands. Um, I'm always constantly raising the question like how is this going to be with bottlenecking because
Mm.
everyone the arches, right, and everyone is you're going through that. People don't realize that there's actually an alternate exit to the side of each one where you're supposed to exit that way, you exit the land that way. There's no
Oh.
sign for it. There are no signs for it, so people don't really do that. So when they're exiting the park, they're going through the tunnel, the same area as the people that are going in. And
Well,
I keep
yeah.
seeing it. I'm like,
No,
this
if
is
there's another exit, I can, because when Hogsmeade opened, cast members were there directing traffic. I
Mhm.
imagine, since this was a preview, I imagine based, I'm sure you're not the only
Mhm.
person with that feedback. I
Yeah.
can imagine they're going to have, because actually, Super Nintendo World, when I was there, um, they had cast members directing you. You could not go back in the tunnel. If you were leaving the land,
Yeah.
you had to go out of the exit. They would not let you through the tunnel. So I imagine when it's open, that's what's going to happen. Yeah. But how about you give us your final thoughts? So tell us what your favorite land was, your favorite food, and what would you actually wait in line for?
Yeah. So I think overall, this is a very different type of park from Islands of Adventure and Universal Studios. People have to keep that in mind. There aren't that many rides, and because there's only it kind of has a similar issue as Hollywood Studios because it's so limited in amount of like big rides and major rides, the wait times are going to be escalated. So keep that in mind. And if you're not someone who also wants to do the full immersion stuff with the other lands, this could be a part that you're kind of bored at. There's nothing for you to do if you don't want to wait in lines or do the character meet and greets or do the stories or whatever. But I feel like it's a well balanced park because it has a little bit of everything for everyone, and I appreciate the immersion, and I think this is a gorgeous park at night. So I think just you have to keep that in mind as you're going. It's very different from the other parks.
So
My
what's your
favorite
favorite land?
my favorite land is Celestial Park. I said at the top of the show, it's so I feel like it has the two rides, a major thrill ride in Stardust Racers and the family ride in the carousel. Well done. It's beautiful in terms of spacing. It has great food options, and I can't wait to try Blue
Mhm.
Dragon because I feel like that's going to be awesome. So,
I have a question. Is
yeah,
that the only two table services or the two in Celestial Park?
no, there's more. There's more than that.
No,
Yeah.
he mentioned some quick service that we didn't put
No,
in.
no, no. But like I did not see a table service in any other land. Like a sit down with a waiter table service.
Tables like I think that's it. Everything else is quick.
Okay, just I just wanted to
Yeah.
know for personal
From what
interest. Okay, you
top of
can
my
continue.
head, yeah, top of my head, I think everything else in the Lancers
Yeah.
are quick service.
So
Yeah.
what was your favorite thing you ate?
It's gonna sound so silly, but at Oakenstar Tavern, you know how with barbecue they usually give you cornbread? They have this thing, they have a mango bread. And I was like, oh,
That
I
sounds
heard
good.
people suggest that, and I ate it. I'm like, this is phenomenal. Like, it seems so inconsequential, but like, yeah, the mango bread that comes with your entrees is awesome. I also I also ate the pizza lunaire at Pizza Moon, and I'm Filipino, so it's in my blood, but I love ube, and they
Mhm.
have that pizza is ube crust and it was very, very, very good. I have a video review of it. So yeah, that was my favorite. In terms of what I would wait for, 100% Stardust Racers.
Okay.
100%.
Yeah.
It's so awesome, especially at night. It's a coaster you have to ride at night. It is the vibes on it at night are great.
So some things we just want to point out as travel advisors, it's part of our job, is this park does only have 11 attractions. So that is something to
Mhm.
keep in mind. All but two have a height requirement, and half of them are on the more thrilling side. I think only
Mhm.
like two would be Velocicoaster Hulk kind of
Yeah.
thrill, but half of them are thrilling attractions. So something to keep in mind if you have younger kids that don't like roller coasters or are
Intense.
on the shorter side, there may be less for them to do. But to Charles' point, there's a lot of interactive elements between the parrot
Mhm.
bands, the wands, character meet and greets, roaming characters. There's a ton of more interactive stuff to do. And I would say other parks. So a lot of interactive stuff.
Mhm.
If you're pregnant, there's going to be a lot of things that you can't ride. If you're okay
Mhm.
with that, fantastic. But I do want to throw that out there. Pregnant people, just FYI. And there is not a lot of shaded spaces.
No.
So come with a hat, come with I don't love umbrellas, but maybe an umbrella for you. Also, a lot of these rides are outside. So if it's a rainy day, maybe flip-flop your park plans because rain is going to definitely heavily impact this park.
Mhm.
And then
There are there
go
are a
ahead.
lot of trees in Celestial Park, but they're young, so it's going to be a long time before they're actual grown. So keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Those will eventually grow to be taller to provide more shade in Celestial Park, but that's going to be a while. That's going to be a long while.
Now, from a convenience factor, we do, as we've said at the top of this, Universal Helios Grand Hotel is attached to this park. So if you don't want to worry about parking, if you don't want to worry about transportation, we are recommending a split stay. Express Pass is not included with Helios Grand at the time of this recording. But if you
Yep.
want that dedicated entry, so you don't have to deal with a lot of the congestion and stuff, a stay at Helios Grand is what we are recommending. Unfortunately, Epic Universe is not available for May and June. Admission is sold out. So if you want to go, we are booking vacation packages through the end of 2025. We'd love to get you set up with a package, just if you're wanting to visit this park, just not for May and June. That is gone. And if you want to get on 2026, you can be added to our wait list because they haven't released 2026 yet, but we all have wait lists for our clients that are excited to visit in 2026. Did you guys have any other thoughts that you wanted to
Yeah,
share?
quick note too. I
All
would
right.
definitely recommend staying on site because if you are driving and you have to park at this park, it is a long walk and there is no movable walkways. They did not incorporate that like they did at City Walk or for the OG park. So that might entice you even more to stay on property so you can use Universal's, transportation like the buses or maybe even rideshare. But like if you're parking, you're going to be walking a long way to get to Epic Universe.
Katie?
And the parking is expensive, I've heard. So
Yes. Well,
I don't have anything to add. I'm just excited. I'm
yes,
excited to
we
go.
are we are so excited for our clients that are visiting Epic Universe. We have some just in a week or two that are going to be there, so
Mhm.
we're very excited. All of our individual contact information is going to be in the link in our not the link in our bio in our show
Show
notes.
notes.
In our show notes. So when you're ready to work with any one of us, hit us up. We can't wait to connect, and we will have another episode for you guys soon. I hope you found this interesting and informative. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, leave them in the comments. And we can't wait to get you guys to Epic. Bye.
Bye.